guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in this video it's going to be my July wrap up. Now this video is going to be super calm, super cozy and super chill because there's enough craziness going on in the world that we just need a little safe space on BookTube to just calm down, watch some videos and just talk about reading. My cat is beside me because she's just really sweet and wholesome, and it makes this and then she starts washing her ass. Okay, so this month I read a total of 10 books and I'm really pleased. There was none that was like amazing to me or a new favourite or anything. However, there was none that I disliked either, so it was pretty average. At the start of the month I didn't really read all that much, and then the reading rush came and I went up again and then down again. So we're just going to talk about the books that I read. Okay, the first book that I read in the month of July was Crave by Tracy Wolff, and I would actually probably say that this was my highlight of the month. It is basically a Twilight knockoff. I'm not gonna lie, it's basically a Twilight knockoff, but it was so fun and so entertaining, and it is 600 pages. I thought it would drag quite a lot, but it really didn't, so this was 5 stars for me. I just fell in love with Jackson Vega and our main character, who I can't even remember right now. Okay, clearly it wasn't my favourite. Grace. Her name was Grace. So this was like one of my favourite books of the month. It was amazing. It basically follows this girl named Grace after her parents have died and she moves to this boarding school in Alaska, I believe, or some really cold place in America. And she soon realises that not everything is as it seems, and I mean, she's got a bit of dumb bitch energy, I'm not gonna lie. It took her quite a while to figure things out, but once she did, it was very amazing. I would say there is a little bit of insta love in here, but it was done really well, and I think like that's not something that I hate, so I really loved this book. I'm not selling this short, but I'm not like doing it enough justice either. The next book that I read is Something Happened in Our Town. I will put a picture of it here. I gave this one 4 stars. It was just like a short little children's book about racial prejudice and how parents or guardians should go about informing their children about racial prejudice. It was really good and really informative as a start out book, because in the start of the book it had like a little picture book story of children who were going through segregation and discrimination, and then how to deal with that. So I thought it was really good and really informative, and I would highly recommend. The next book I read was actually a buddy read with the amazing Isabella from Throne of Pages, and I absolutely love her. Like her channel, her videos, her vibe, herself is just absolutely phenomenal, and we love her. So the book that we buddy read was Final Girls by Riley Sager. Now we both actually thought that Riley Sager was a woman. I don't know why we thought that, but like I feel like I liked it a little bit more when I thought that. I don't know, is that just me? I don't know. Anywho, this essentially is a thriller, which is only my second ever thriller to read, and I really enjoyed it. Our main character in this book is called Quincy, and she is a final girl, and a final girl basically means the only girl left alive after some horrific massacre or event or killing or something. So there are 3 final girls from 3 separate massacres, killings, I don't know what the word is, but they are 3 separate events, and one of them ends up dead, and Quincy is wondering, are they targeting all of the final girls? Is she safe? Who can she trust? It's amazing. This is told in the prospect of 2 timelines. So one of the timelines is now, which is like a decade after the massacre has occurred, but one of the final girls has turned up dead like now, and then also reliving what happened during that massacre. I gave this one 3 stars. I feel like the ending, even though it was a twist, it didn't really shock me as much because I come up with a couple of crackpot theories when I'm reading thrillers. It's just a fact about me. But I found like some of my theories were a little bit more interesting than the actual one, so I think that's probably on me that I built it up to be something that it actually wasn't. But nonetheless, I did really enjoy it. I don't think this is a spoiler because it's mentioned pretty early on, but one of the tropes in this is that she can't remember what happened. So I feel like that's a pretty easy way out of making some suspense, that she can't remember who did it. And then just as the last page, she just suddenly remembers. And that kind of like took it down a little bit for me because it annoyed me just how convenient it was. But nonetheless, I'm talking a little bit negatively, but I really enjoyed this book. The next book that I read was They Went Left by Monica Hess. This was my first read of the reading rush, and listen, I have a lot of thoughts about this book. This is a World War II historical fiction following this young girl named Zofia, who is... this takes place just after the war, and she has been liberated from a concentration camp, and she is trying to find her brother, because her brother was the only one who was sent to the right with her, and if you're sent to the right, you're sent to work in the labour camps and concentration camps, but if you're sent to the left, which all her family were, except herself and her brother, you're just sent straight to the gas chambers, which in itself is so horrifying and upsetting, and I don't even know how to process that in my head. But anywho, so after the war, she is determined to find her brother because his name is Abek, her name is Zofia, and the whole premise of this book was to complete their alphabet A to Z. And I thought that was really sweet. I think it is a very, very good book to read. As I was reading this, I literally sped through this in 24 hours, and you can see my annotations. I loved it. This had the potential to be one of my favourite books of all time. However, the ending I despised. I despised that ending, and I've spoken to a couple other people who have read this book and they loved the ending. So it definitely doesn't determine the book, it's just my personal preference. I thought it just tore down the whole plot and just like undid everything that we had progressed through the entire novel, and I was just really upset by the ending. Like, do you know one of those books that you need to concoct a new ending in your head because you are genuinely so upset over how it ended? That was me while reading this book. It genuinely broke my heart, and I would definitely recommend the read. It is still a really good book, and I ended up giving it 4.5 stars just because with that ending and with how I felt, I couldn't give it 5 stars, even though all along it was going to be a 5-star read. But I would definitely recommend this book. I've seen a lot of booktubers like Hayley in Bookland and Emma Books talking about this, and honestly that's exactly why I bought it in the first place. But I don't know. I think the ending was really well done, even though I didn't personally like it. I think it was realistic. The next one I read was Nightlights by Lorena Alvarez, and this is just a cute little graphic novel, and honestly I gave this one I think 3 stars. The plot made no sense. I'm sorry, it made absolutely 0 sense, and I know it's a graphic novel and it's short and whatever, but I mean, I was expecting a little bit of a plot or like even a little story, moral, whatever. I got none of that in this book, and I don't know how to rate it. I can't even describe what happened in this book, but the artwork was really pretty and the whole book is really pretty, and I read this one outside on a super sunny day and it's so cute and wholesome, so that is why I gave it 3 stars. The next book that I read was Run Rebel by Manjeet Mann. Now, I have a little bit of conflicting feelings on this book. I ended up giving this one a 4 star, but in my head it's probably a 3 star. It is written in verse, and I found the first half of the book to be really dragging on. This is like a 500-page book, and I did read it in one sitting, so maybe that's why. I'm just going to talk about like what it's about first. So essentially we have our main character named Amber, and she is living in a toxic household. Her father is very abusive towards her and her mother, and they're the only two, like she's the only sibling left in the house. Just how they deal with that. Her parents are illiterate also, so that is why they haven't left the father, and it's just a very empowering read, and I definitely would say trigger warning for domestic abuse. Also the fact that they are an Indian family, so they do have a lot of discrimination towards them, and you know, it talks a lot about like the job roles when you are not highly educated in the system and whatever. So it is a very important read, and I would say for the actual story and the plot and the meaning behind it, it's definitely a 5 star, but for the actual execution and my enjoyment while reading, it's a 3 or a 4 star. I'm still not 100% certain, but I did really enjoy the second half and found that I was very much like feeling for these characters by the end, and I was genuinely like heartwarming at the end, so I would definitely recommend this book. So yeah, also I am selling this copy of the book. If any of y'all want to pop up and buy this, I will send it to you. Okay, the next book that I read was an audiobook, and it was The Gentleman's Guide to Getting Lucky. I will put the cover here. This is the novella to The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, and I gave it 3 stars. I had a lot of 3-star books this month, which was kind of average, but it was still good, you know, it's okay. This novella was actually quite interesting, but it was basically just smut. Like, it not even actual smut, just like potential smut. Like, that was literally it. The topic of this book was literally them trying to have a little moment on a big ship of people and trying and like miscommunication and stuff. It was fun. Like that's all I'm gonna say. It was fun. But like there wasn't much of a plot, which is why I gave it 3 stars. But then it's a novella. Like I'm not expecting a whole ass length novel from a novella. Like it was really fun for what it was, and I gave it 3 stars. The next book I read was A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J Maas. Oh my goodness, I adored this book. Obviously 5 out of 5 stars. Look at those annotations. I mean, you can really tell that it started to get a little bit emotional right up here, but it was so good. This is the final book. Well, the final book for now. This is the 3rd book in the ACOTAR series, but I finished this book super fast and I absolutely adored it. I heard a lot of people say that it was their least favourite in the series and that they didn't like it at all, which I definitely didn't find. I didn't get that at all. I did prefer the second one, just because of that like tension, and chapter 55, that's all I'm gonna say, it was my favourite. So, but this one was absolutely amazing. I hear a couple of people also say that the start is a little bit slow, and that is possibly true. But I listened to most of this on audiobook, so that is why like I didn't really find it dragging in any part, but I absolutely loved this and I just cannot wait for the new book in January. I'm just gonna cry. Like I can't even wait. And then we're gonna finish that and then we're gonna have to wait like another year before the next one comes out, and I don't know if I can handle that. Guys, I don't even know. Okay, there are 2 books left on this wrap up. The next one I read was Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the graphic novel, and this was super cute. I think I gave this one a 3 star or a 4 star. It was just really wholesome about like monsters, and as a child like you think there's monsters and then the monsters don't always turn out to be bad type of thing, and it was really sweet and wholesome. And the final book that I read in the month of July was A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J Maas. This is the novella to the ACOTAR series, which takes place after A Court of Wings and Ruin, so that's why it's not like the last book, but it's the last book, if you get me. I gave this one 4 stars, possibly 4.5, just because even though there was like no plot, I couldn't give it, I wasn't expecting a plot, and I didn't find it boring like a lot of people did. This book has terrible reviews, but I loved it. I just didn't give it 5 stars because compared to the other books in the series, it wasn't as good as them, because there's like, it's a novella, like a 200-page novella. There's no like storyline. It's basically just them at Christmas in Valaris. What isn't to love about that? You literally get 200 pages of the inner circle just talking and planning Christmas gifts, and that to me is idyllic. Like I didn't need a plot. Sarah J Maas could write a book about Reese or any of the inner circle brushing their teeth or like watching paint dry, and I would lap that shit up, because she just makes incredible books and characters and world building and everything. So I did really love this, and also the ending was so sweet, and I just can't wait to see the next characters. So yeah, I will be a little bit sad that they're not in like Farah's POV, they're in Nesta's, but I love Nesta, but like I have a little soft spot for Faizand. So yeah, that is all I'm gonna say about that one, but it was absolutely phenomenal. Hi Misty. So in total I read 2,976 pages in the month of July, which is pretty good. I mean, I'm happy with that. Okay, so that is it for the July wrap up from me and Misty. We had an amazing time chatting to you all, and I hope you read some amazing books. Let me know down in the comments, have you read any of these books, or what your favourite book of July that you read was, and I will see you again very soon in the next video.